Welcome to Turkish Politics, where we bring you in-depth analysis of Turkey's dynamic political landscape. Today, we're diving into a landmark peace initiative happening right now in the Turkish Grand National Assembly. They formed a special commission to tackle the long-standing Kurdish issue with the ambitious goal of creating a terror-free Turkey.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with how this historic commission even got started, then we'll look at its core mission and the principles guiding it. We'll break down what this terror-free Turkey goal actually means, tackle the serious concerns being raised, and finally, take a look at the proposed road to peace.
So, what's happening here is a really big deal. For the first time in a long time, the Turkish parliament is taking direct ownership of one of the nation's most painful and enduring conflicts. They're bringing the whole debate right into the heart of the democratic process.
And according to information from the Turkish parliament records, its official name, well, it tells you a lot. The National Solidarity, Brotherhood, and Democracy Commission. The name itself really signals a powerful desire to create unity and heal some very deep divisions.
Now, to give this whole thing legitimacy, a pretty huge claim was made, that this commission represents the political will of 98% of Turkish society. The idea is that it includes every single party with a seat in the assembly, not just the big ones. This is all about showing a truly united front.
And you can really feel the emotional weight of this from the get-go. Commission members weren't just using dry political language. They framed this as a moral duty, a chance to end half a century of pain, so that, in their own powerful words, mothers no longer cry. Okay, so you've got this massive, historic task ahead of you. Where do you even begin? Well, to build any kind of trust, the Commission set up a clear framework with some foundational principles right at the outset.
Parliamentary records show they really built their work on three core pillars. First, transparency, meaning the public has a right to know what's going on. Second, openness, a promise of no secret deals or backroom agendas. And finally, pluralism, which is a really powerful acknowledgement of Turkey's incredibly diverse cultural fabric.
And let's just pause on that idea of pluralism for a second, because it's so important. The official record defines it beautifully. It says that the nation's strength comes from its many voices and cultures. And crucially, it makes the point that no citizen should ever be pushed aside because of their identity, their language, or their faith.
So, with these principles as the foundation, what's the end game? The entire initiative is constructed around one single powerful vision, creating a terror-free Turkey.
But it's really important to see that this goal is framed as way more than just a security operation. The Commission's discussions describe it as a genuine national project. It's supposed to reflect the people's deep desire for peace, push back against foreign interference, and act as a brotherhood project to heal the country's divisions.
And this quote from the transcripts, I think it just captures that hopeful vision perfectly. The goal is to move past a story of conflict and poverty and instead build a future where every single citizen can look forward with a real sense of hope and security.
But of course, let's be real. It's not all optimism. When you look at the parliamentary records, you can see that even within the commission itself, there's a lot of deep skepticism. Some very tough questions are being asked, and they point to the huge challenges ahead. And this right here is the central fear that some members voiced. Is this commission the real deal, or is it just for show? They're worried it might be a ghost-journalic body. A public performance that's just designed to rubber-stamp decisions that were already made behind closed doors. And these concerns get really specific. Members raised the alarm about the judiciary being used as a political club. They pointed to ongoing discrimination that still hasn't been dealt with. And they demanded that the agenda be set together, collaboratively, not dictated from the top. And they insisted on full press access to everything.
So, the stakes just could not be higher. The discussions lay out two very different futures for Turkey. Success means lasting peace and a stronger democracy. But failure, that means repeating the pains of the past, wasting this historic opportunity, and making the country's divisions even deeper than before. So, with all these high hopes and these deep fears sitting right there on the table, what's the actual plan? What's the path forward? Well, the records outline a pretty cautious roadmap, one that's focused on slowly, carefully building public trust. The advice that experts gave the Commission was basically, take it slow. Their recommendation? Start with social rights and economic support first. Build a solid foundation of public trust and goodwill before you even try to tackle the most controversial legal stuff, like the anti-terror law. And this brings us to a massive challenge, which is backed up by research that was presented to the Commission. You see, while pretty much everyone supports the idea of peace, the trust that the political process can actually deliver it is dangerously low. And closing that trust gap is absolutely critical for any of this to work.
Now, to try and avoid the mistakes of the past, the Commission is also doing its homework and looking for lessons abroad. The records show they're studying peace processes from all over, from Northern Ireland to the Philippines, trying to understand what works and maybe more importantly, what doesn't, especially when it comes to tricky things like disarmament.
So, in the end, this entire initiative is really a monumental gamble. It's a huge opportunity for sure, but it is up against decades of history and immense political baggage. The talks are happening, the principles are in place, but that biggest question of all remains: can this effort finally break the cycle of conflict?
And that's our inside look at Turkey's new Peace Commission, a story that is very much still unfolding. To keep getting in-depth analysis on Turkish politics, please don't forget to follow our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks so much for watching.